All right, you guys, so one more video for today. I want to talk about the importance of being able to recognize 652 energy. Because essentially, this is the number of diurnal or day-to-day karmic connections, okay? And because of the fact that we're talking about 13 as the total of this sum, we're talking about karmic connections capable of blocking your higher level blessings or blocking the attainment of higher consciousness. Now, let's dissect the sequence. So we're talking about 6, and because it's a 3-digit sequence, using Demetra's number system, you isolate the initial digit to understand what realm we're dealing with. And then you assess the remaining digits 2 digits at a time. So here we're talking about karmic connections that are going to come up in your day-to-day life at work, your neighbors, right? These are the connections that come across your path when you're out grocery shopping, right? You might run into someone, strike up a conversation, right? Develop some sort of connection, right? And then difficult emotions or difficult situations will likely arise because of the fact that the 5 and 2 total 7. When we're talking about karmic connections, we're talking about connections that are intended to help you gain greater awareness in the realm of 7. 7 is essentially the realm of darkness, the realm of death, the realm of difficulty, the dark side of karmic matters, right? Think of it this way. You're talking about Snow White and the 7 dwarfs. This is a faux connection. This is darkness. This is intended death, right? We're talking about the realm of transformation. We're talking about the realm that the 7 deadly sins reside in. Okay, so when you're talking about having to navigate karmic connections properly, you have to be incredibly self-aware to do so. You have to understand where your shortcomings end and another person's begins. You have to understand your own toxicity to be able to recognize and draw the line at the beginning of someone else's toxicity. We cannot heal. We cannot attempt to heal others if we are not self-aware. Now, I mentioned this in my previous video on using inner child wounds and the 7 deadly sins to overcome karmic cycles or break karmic patterns. The same applies here because karmic connections or karmic relationships are intended to serve as tools to help you grow in regard to these kinds of situations, in regard to your own darkness, in regard to the darkness of the other person or the other people, right? So a great tool, I'm going to allude to another system, not created by me, and that is the 7 deadly sins. And it works perfectly when navigating the realm of 7 and navigating karmic connections. When you can utilize the 7 deadly sins and refer to them when you are assessing a certain connection, it works wonders. Try and associate what 7 deadly sin is connected or is coming up in regard to you and this person. For example, let's say you're at work, or let's say you are walking your dog, right? And you encounter someone you find incredibly physically attractive, right? And let's say you start striking up conversation and you realize there really isn't much else there. There's no intellectual compatibility. There's no spiritual compatibility. It is purely physical. Then you are heavily involved in a karmic connection associated with the 7 deadly sin, that is lust. So we're talking about being able to acknowledge this, being able to acknowledge these energies. And when we're talking about karmic connections, it may seem harmless to pursue this. But what if I told you it isn't harmless? Because of the fact that it totals 13, which is the number below awareness. And essentially the absence of awareness, the absence of higher realms, right? This is someone that is living in the body. This is someone that is focused on material matters, right? This is an ego connection, essentially, if you are pursuing it solely based on lust. And what this means is that this very well may block your true soul connection, your true soulmate connection, right? Because there is no growth in this, right? This is solely based on the physical. We have to take everything into account when we are pursuing connections, when we are developing connections, when we are allowing people into our energetic space and into our lives. Because although this connection may feel good physically in the moment as it relates to your vices and the dark side of you, which is fine. It's important to acknowledge. It's important to hone. It's important to explore those tendencies, those habits, those attractions. But you must assess them objectively, productively, with your future in mind and what you truly desire in mind as well. All right, just a quick tip I wanted to share. Be mindful, you guys. Be mindful of the people you associate with and the relationships you nurture, because energy goes certain places, and it's those certain places that grow, right? And if you are depriving the potential connection associated with true love of your attention, you're going to lose out. Choose to hone your patience instead of choosing to settle for less.